Hey, Horacio.
How are you, Dean?
Good, thank you. Okay, so tell folks a little bit about you, and then we've got three different scenarios to go through between you and Beth, and I'll drop you right into scenario number one. But tell folks a little bit about you.
Sure. I'm a fractional CMO. I've been doing this. I did it for 2 years between 2017 and 2019, and I've been
Hmm.
doing it for the last year. I also have been a CMO of B2B early stage startups, particularly in cybersecurity, for about 10 years. And all in all, I have about 30 years of experience in enterprise software, except for 5 years that I did on Wall Street as an analyst covering software stocks and cybersecurity stocks. So outside of
Hmm.
those 5 years, I've been mostly an operator, everything from product management, product marketing, and most recently, as I said, marketing leadership.
Okay, all right. Scenario number one. I imagine, like most of us, most of your clients are virtual, but in this scenario, it's day one. You've signed the contracts, everything's done. You brand new client, brand new engagement. They are 5 minutes from your home, so you're going to walk into their building on day one. When you walk in on day one of your engagement, what's the dream scenario you might walk into, and what's the nightmare scenario you might walk into?
Yeah, so well, the dream scenario is that they really need me, and they.
Mm-hmm.
I had a client I talked to yesterday, and it's like, "We need you, and we want you in ASAP. You're the guy." I think that's the dream scenario in the sense that there's already a funded program. There's some level of team or infrastructure there that is already working. Maybe they're not working optimally, but they have a minimum core sort of critical mass, and hopefully that's 3 to 4 marketers. If not, then it's really a grind because even though you're being brought in to do fractional CMO, you're going to be very tactical and trying to build that team. So that would be a good scenario, I think, where the CEO also recognizes has had a stint in marketing would be great. I often find they don't really value marketing or understand marketing that well. The nightmare scenario, I suppose, would be coming in where there's a director of marketing who wanted to be the VP of marketing or CMO, and I've had this happen. And there's
Oh
just
no.
this antagonism or this sort of tension there from the moment you walk in, even though the CEO wants you in there. They know you. They need somebody more strategic, but this person had aspirations to be that person, and they have a direct channel to the CEO, a back channel. So I think the interpersonal issues, if they're not worked out ahead of time, and you're in an unfortunate situation where you might not necessarily want to work with this person or think you need to make a change, but you can't make that change immediately. So you can feel that coming off the person. So that's a nightmare scenario that's set up to maybe cause some tension and failure there.
That is nightmare fuel right there. Okay. Hi, Beth.
Hi.
Beth, tell folks a little bit about you, and then I want to drop you into the dream nightmare scenario too.
Wonderful. Yeah, a little bit different of a background. So I founded an agency called Mother Cover, which we focus on providing fractional and interim support specifically for maternity and parental
Mm-hmm.
leaves. Actually, can be any type of leave, but that's kind of the area of focus. And doesn't have to be marketing, can be any discipline. But I, by trade, am a fractional CMO, and we offer traditional fractional services as well. So I've been 15 years in the B2B space, SaaS as well. I throw a little bit of logistics and supply chain in there just for extra fun of getting into complex industries, but same sort of thing with the full stack marketer, product marketing, brand, demand gen, all the fun things.
So it's day one, and you walk in to the office, brand new client. Like you walk in, and you're like, your heart is just warm. Like, oh, this is like amazing, and this is like, oh God, what have I signed up for?
Amazing is everything that we talked about kind of in the discovery phase of am
Yeah.
I the right fit is actually what the problem is that they want to tackle, and everybody is aligned on it, and there's nobody that really had to be pulled along of, do we need this person to join? Should it be fractional? Should it be XYZ? That everyone you talk to identifies the same problem. I think
Right.
that
Mm-hmm.
would be not only the dream, but the unicorn company to say that everybody is aligned on what that priority is for that person.
And what's the
The
nightmare?
opposite, yeah, the nightmare is the opposite of that is one that nobody is aligned on what your priorities need to be and why you're there. The other though would be say they've told you you've got a team that's a great team, but then on day one they're like, actually they're not that great, and we will leave it up to you, but we think you should maybe evaluate so and so, and they might need to go. So that they've maybe identified that there's already somebody that they want to leave, and they just didn't want to do the dirty work, and they brought you in to do it.
Got it. All right. Okay, Beth. So let's switch to a different scenario. You're the speaker on stage. There's 250 people in the audience. They all came out of corporate and became fractional CMOs yesterday. 250, fresh out of the gate, brand new, just baked fractional CMOs, right? So I'm going to, between you and Horacio, we're going to go back and forth, but I just want you to finish these 3 parts of a speech for me. Okay. Just like fill in with whatever needs to be said. So you're at the beginning and you're going to, because you're the expert to these folks, right? And so you're saying, guys, like, it's just starting out as fractional CMOs right now, 2025. The thing you're going to be shocked by the most is...
The thing that you're going to be shocked at the most is just because you're a good marketer does not mean that you're going to be good at marketing yourself. Mm-hmm. It's a different skill set, and you absolutely need to be good at it if you are going to build your own business and your own pipeline of opportunities.
Right. And Horacio, what do you think? What are these newbies going to be shocked by?
I think Beth took my number 1, but I'm going to go with my number 2 then. I said, so the number 2 I think is that, you think it's going to be like a Monday, Tuesday, 2-day a week kind of thing, but It's really messy. It's very interleaved, especially as you build your business and you have 2 or 3 clients. You might be able to do some amount of work in blocks on a Monday, but typically marketing things come in at different times in the week. A graphic designer needs feedback. Somebody on the team needs some feedback, and you will be interleaving these clients throughout the week, and it's very hard to almost time track at some point. And the worst is if you have a client that sees you kind of like a pseudo employee and wants you on tap, which often that's hard to say no to if it's a CEO. So that even makes the interrupt driven cycle even more. So even though you're trying to keep some boundaries and frameworks or boundaries in terms of how you work time-wise with different clients, I think it gets very messy quickly. So that's one of the things I think you underestimate.
Horacio, so now we're at sort of the middle of the speech you and Beth are given. Excuse me. And so like finish this sentence for me with as much as you need, right? Something else, guys, like many clients just don't understand.
Well, they don't understand the effort, the brand, the time it takes, and the value of building a brand. I think most of them are very lead gen oriented. They want the results. They want numbers. If they give you some money, they want to know exactly what came out of it, like next week. And I don't think many of them really place, at least the ones I've worked at the startup level, they don't really place a lot of value on the brand and the many touches you have to touch a client before they convert to something meaningful. And so I think that's one of the biggest things that I've seen.
Beth, how about you? Many clients, folks, as you're getting out there in the world, you're going to find many clients just don't understand what?
Many clients just don't understand that marketing is not a service to sales. So I know even some marketers might disagree with me, but it's about a strong partnership. If you over-engineer marketing into being a service to sales, you will focus on short-term results, and you won't, as Horacio said, invest in your brand, invest in the things that take more of that long-term approach to building an actually successful company.
They're not the majority, but the single largest group of viewers, according to LinkedIn, for this podcast is heads of sales, and you just gave half of them a heart attack. So cool.
Well, we can be a great partner.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough. And then Beth, that's like, some intern is trying to signal you to get off the stage and they're bringing up the music, but by God, you're going to leave everybody with this last bit of knowledge. Right. And it's like, look, if I only have time to give you one lesson about getting clients as a fractional CMO, it is
be genuine and really lean into your network and understand that your network is not a static list. So your network should ideally always be growing. So you need to constantly be involved and introducing yourself over and over again, which might seem like you've said the same things over and over again. But just as we understand our audience needs to hear the same message 7, 10, 15 times, you need to do the same for yourself.
All right. And Horacio, what do you think? Number one lesson for these newbies about getting new clients?
I mean, I'll be very prescriptive. I think you need to keep Fridays or maybe even Thursdays and Fridays available to just market yourself, to find a workshop, to do a webinar, be on a podcast like this, because it's very tempting with fractional to fill up your week like a full-time and make even more money than you did, or it feels like more money right away. And then you don't, all of a sudden, two of those 3 clients go away, and now your income is very unpredictable. So you really just need to create some time. Maybe anywhere from 20 to 30% of your time should be spent marketing yourself and building relationships with your network, as Beth said, to keep your pipeline, even if you feel like you're full now.
Yeah. Even when you're busy, you need to be adding to your pipeline, or you will end up in this feast and famine cycle that is very hard to pull out of. Okay, so third of 3 scenarios. So you and Horacio, will start with you first. You're at a conference, like a convention. So a lot of potential clients there, a lot of fractional CMOs there too. You're all sort of milling around on the floor, right? Looking at the booths and having one-on-one conversations with people you pass by. I want to talk about the conversations with these prospective clients. Okay. First of all, given that this is marketing, a lot of people know at least a little bit about marketing. Almost everyone who knows a little bit thinks they know a lot about marketing. It's just human nature. I'm not blaming anybody. And so as you're talking to prospective clients out in the world, what do they tend to talk about that you think is overrated? And is there anything that's just like criminally underrated that you think companies would benefit from paying more attention to in the marketing realm? Underrated, overrated?
I think the most overrated thing I see, and this is going to be controversial, is domain expertise. Because I, for example, have worked in 6 niches of cybersecurity. When I was a Wall Street analyst, I probably covered, I don't know, 10 different subsectors of technology, and I had to kind of become a credible expert pretty quickly. And really, I think marketing is marketing. There are certain mechanics and a machine that you can build, and it's value prop, pain point, ICP. It's all these concepts that as a marketer you get to know well. And I think that, especially in the cybersecurity world where I work, some of the founders are very technical or product oriented, and they just can't get beyond the fact that you have to be this super deep, almost engineer level understanding of the space, which you can acquire that, and you need to hire a product marketer as a CMO or have that person on your team, because you can't play the product marketing and CMO role together at the same time. I've made that mistake. So I think that often the domain expertise is overrated in terms of how fast a quick study can be impactful in a domain, in a niche domain, and then they undervalue then the mechanics of marketing, of leading a team, of having gone through that, of setting up a HubSpot and debugging, having the right people that you could bring to a problem very quickly in Salesforce, in the marketing ops area or what have you. So I think they undervalue sort of the leadership and strategic element. They may even pick a director or a junior person to try to lead marketing for a while. So I think those are the mistakes I see a lot.
All right. And Beth, when you're talking to prospective clients, what do they tend to overrate, and what do you think they underrate?
What I find lately is overrating on flashy marketing that really is almost an ego play of marketing internally to yourselves. Of this will make us feel really great. It could be the New York Times Square banners that you want up there as kind of a milestone for your company, but it doesn't actually mean anything to your customers. So really keeping that customer top of mind first, of what do they want to see, what do they care about, and often it's not the really flashy types of marketing. It's just help me with my problem and get clear to the point of what it is that you actually do, because we're all inundated with people trying to sell us things. So being actually helpful and clear about what you do is way more important than having this really expensive creative campaign.
And what do you think is sort of criminally underrated?
True community building, and that takes time and relationship building, because again, we're all kind of over engineered right now on living and dying by quarters, and you can't build relationships in quarters. So really truly investing in and building relationships with your customers.
All right. So Beth, you're still talking to these prospective clients. And one of them says, you know what, I don't pretend to like know much about this, but can you just explain to me very simply, please, what is marketing?
Marketing is, when done right, is the glue within your company that's connecting everybody. It connects your HR and your employee experience. It connects your sales. It connects your product. It connects your customer experience. And then it was able to bridge outside of your company to build those relationships and tell stories.
Horacio, what about you? Someone asks you, what is marketing?
Marketing to me, it's a communication of value, both
Mm-hmm.
strategically and in a tactical way at a simple level. I think I always compare it to directing a symphony to do it right, because you have different personalities that you need, different skill sets in a team, and they've all got to be working in unison to make their maximum impact. So it's a very difficult functional part of a company that ultimately communicates value and creates sort of a hopefully repeatable pipeline of customers for the company.
All right. And then sort of the last of we were on the floor milling around having one-off conversations at a convention scenario. Horacio, so you're talking to a prospective client, right? What's a green flag and what's a red flag for you when you're talking to them about them becoming a client? What's like, oh yeah, like this would be great for me and I think it'd be great for them. Or else it's oh no, 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 no. I don't even think they should be hiring any fractional CMO, never mind me. Like what's a green flag for a prospect and what's a red flag?
One of the green flags, I mean, the red flags I'd say is that they're already negotiating price or just
Mm-hmm.
starting to bring up rates too early before I just think um, I- I find that culture can permeate even when you're asking for money for the program spend as a marketer. Just everything becomes a hassle to get approved, and everything is questioned without that long-term vision that you need for building good marketing. Sometimes I think first-time founders can be a red flag, but it just depends on what position I'm in,
Mm-hmm.
if how many clients I have, if I'm in a situation where I'm not necessarily going to. I want that founder to kind of go through a bit of learning, or if they have a marketing background, that's great. So that would be a green flag. If they have a
Right.
marketing come from sort of a marketing background, they understand the role, how hard it can be, or what time it takes to create results. Another green flag would be that there's an urgency there, that the
Right.
board or somebody is asking for somebody to come in and they recognize there's a real problem in the current organization.
And then Beth, how about you when you're talking to a prospective client? What's a red flag and what's a green flag?
A red flag would be if they say to me, we've grown this far without doing any marketing, which I just see as that's not true. You don't understand what marketing is. Somebody is always doing marketing. It may be you've gone this far without a formal person or team in marketing, but you've
Right.
done marketing. So it signals to me that they don't actually value marketing or understand what it is, and somebody's again dragging them along. Of you need to do this now, but they're thinking they've done just fine without marketing.
And a green
The
flag?
green flag um, is self-awareness, that they know what they know and know what they don't know, and they want you to balance out the pieces that they don't know, and they're going to trust that you have the expertise to lead them through that.
Yeah. All right. So, guys, this is for the two of you. Part of the fun of this podcast is that everyone picks their own date and time to record, which means there's no curation of guests. Who you end up with is as a co-guest, completely random. And so, at this point, what I'm going to let you guys do is it's almost like you're in a building full of fractional CMOs and you were in an elevator and then someone else gets in the elevator. You don't know anything about them except they're another fractional CMO. Um, just finish this thought for me, Beth, but you're address Horacio, I'm sorry, and ask him this question. So basically, like, hey, since I've got you here, I want to ask you a question and then ask him a question.
I'd love to ask you about how you get into kind of either other verticals like outside of cybersecurity, as you're saying, that kind of that industry knowledge is overrated, that you need to be kind of pigeonholed into one area. Because I also consider myself industry agnostic, but you get the folks that are like, I need somebody that knows healthcare in order to even have that conversation with you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think definitely that happens through the network for me, if I can even stretch it. I haven't been super successful, I'll say that. Like getting into SaaS PLG companies is something I really want to do. I know that I have the skill set and acumen to do it. It's just that sometimes people put barriers. I would say that that's definitely where the network helps, and sometimes I'll discount that client quite a bit to get that experience. So I sort of scale the engagement rate to get that first one under my belt, and then I can start using that too. And because we're marketers, we know how to target other people in those sub niches. So I use that then to go after the other ones. I also might do a very focused, as a former analyst, I'll pick a niche and I'll just do a lot of research on 2 or 3 companies in that niche, and then I'll approach the CEO of one of those or 2 of those companies with viewpoints of what they need to do to succeed, and just try to just sell myself on intellect on that. So that's one way,
Yeah,
couple ways I do it.
Horacio, I'm gonna interrupt for a second. What's a PLG company? I don't think I've ever heard that before.
Product-led growth. That's
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah.
that's a pretty, yeah. So
All right.
try
Uh,
before you buy, activate
yeah,
kind of thing.
thank you. Yeah, yeah. A lot of product-led growth companies think that they don't need marketing because they got this far without it.
Yeah.
Good for them. And then Horacio, speaking to Beth, how would you finish? Hey, since I got you here, I want to ask you.
Yeah. So actually, I wanted to ask similar question maybe. Have you found it more beneficial to be specialized in a niche, because from the pipeline perspective, just keeping a steady flow of clients, just being like an expert in a specific industry niche or type of company, or do you try to play it broad across different verticals and just sell sort of the mechanics of marketing and being a CMO?
Yeah, it's definitely easier when you kind of already have that case study of a similar client that you've worked to. So I find that those come more naturally and easier to convert. But I do try to broaden and show how that experience is applicable to other industries. So I talk about having background in SaaS, in telecom, in logistics, and that those are complex industries. And if I can figure out those complex industries, it's that skill set of flexibility and being able to bring kind of those key tactics that apply across the board, again, regardless of vertical, but it's being able to show them how that applies to their specific situation, because everybody thinks that their situation is really unique and that you have to come from this world in order to understand it. So sometimes it's just opening their eyes of like, here's the similarities and here's where it's different, and here's where you can bring me that industry knowledge and I bring you the tactical, the leadership expertise on the marketing side, and we can tackle this together.
Mm-hmm.
All right, excellent. Thank you guys both for being here. Before we wind down, Beth, who should be reaching out to you then, especially based on your last answer? Who should be reaching out to you these days, and what's the best way to get to you?
The best way to get to me is through my website, so mothercoveragency.com, where you can find me on LinkedIn. My areas of expertise are B2B, SaaS, logistics, complex industries. But then again, as I said, anybody who's also looking for maternity or parental or any type of leave of absence, whether it's me, myself, or our roster of folks that can step in for you.
All right. And then, Horacio, how about you? Who should be reaching out to you these days, ideally, and what's the best way to get to you?
So any venture-funded startup, Series A to, let's say, Series D, I've scaled up to 100 million in sales, particularly growth startups that are in the 20 to 40 and are looking to grow to 100 million. And I would say cybersecurity has been a focus, but any enterprise IT sale is definitely up my alley, as well as I'm looking to do more B2B, SaaS, PLG type companies as well. And you can reach me at Horacio at ScaleBooster. My website should be up shortly at scalebooster.com, but those are 2 ways you can get in touch with me.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Thanks, Beth and Horacio, for being here. and we'll see you next time. Bye.